What's going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Friday, October 27th, and I am hyped to be here. We've got a sweet number of topics on tap for today. Wow, that was whiffed. Sorry, let me reset there. We've got a lot of topics on tap, and I've got my friends hanging out with me, and we're going to have a great time. That was the first time I've almost ever done that in an intro, and I'm not worried about it. I'm stoked to be here. Let's go first to the host of Take It to the Table and the one that's laughing the hardest at me because he understands it. Chaos all the way out in Wales. How are you doing on Friday, my friend? Woo!
You know what? You know what the when you're on like an outdated PC and you get that Windows, that blue screen of death, like doom. That's what happened to you right there. You was processing. It was just like a circle going round and round for a good 5 seconds. Bless you. I know how it is. You see me choke on like a lot of times on Take It to the Table. But yeah, we are here. Happy Friday, everybody. You know what that means. I am wearing my Clash of the Castle t-shirt because the reason I'm wearing that is because obviously it's been announced that WWE is going to be in Germany. I've already booked my accommodation, so I'm just waiting for the tickets. Hopefully, I can get into that small-ass arena. So yeah, I am hyped. We're going to be talking things all WWE and AEW, I assume. Let's get straight to it. Do not mess up, Clark.
I'm hyped as well, my friend. Yeah, no, I can't help but laugh at myself there. That was like the dial-up connection tone just happened all of a sudden. It's like back in the 90s. We've also got hanging out with us today a good friend of mine over in Newport Beach, Carter Crisp. How are you doing this fine Friday afternoon?
I'm doing great. I'm happy we confirmed that Clark is part robot. I always knew there's a little beeping and booping going on, and I'd never seen him in the water, so it makes sense. But I'm doing good. I'm just, MJF, Kenny Omega. We got some super fights this weekend in the other sports. I'm fired up. Let's get it rolling.
I am stoked as well. I mean, we've got also Francis the Franchise Ngannou versus Tyson Fury tomorrow too. We aren't going to necessarily talk about that today, but I'm stoked. It is a fun weekend for combat sports. And last, but certainly not least, the Tuesday Night Delight, all the way from the DMV. Good friend of mine, Shad. How are you feeling on this Friday? Good to see you once again.
I'm good, guys. It's Friday, man, and I'm glad this week is over. Some great wrestling shows tonight, tomorrow night. A lot of amazing matches that we're going to get to see. And before we start, man, shout outs to the world of battle rap too. If y'all follow like URL and all of that, a lot of big time URL battlers are having a card that's wrestling bar themed. DNA is hosting and whatnot. You got a lot of great battles on there, Clips versus DNA and a whole bunch of that. So salute to them, man. I love seeing my two worlds collide into one. So it's always cool to see.
1,000%.
John DeMarco. Sorry.
Yeah. Should have had me on it, but it's all good.
I'm with you there. Shad should have been on it, but either way, no. Do check that out if you're a fan of hip hop and wrestling, because wrestling bars are always fun. We know that. We got a couple comments here before we get started. We got our good friend Bobby Batito with Ronda Rousey and Marina Shafir wrestle against Brian Kendrick and Taya Valkyrie at Lucha Vavoom. That was huge.
Wow, versus Brian Kendrick and Taya Valkyrie?
Very interesting there. Yeah, that was one of those things. I saw that headline this morning and was kind of blown away by it. But let's also go to Anthony Manzano, #MOB. Is the arena they're going to do the premium live event going to be the one of the soccer stadiums for Bayern Munich or no Dortmund?
Bayern's big.
Bayern Munich is the Alliance Arena, and Borussia Dortmund is somewhere else. This one is a small arena. It's like it's housing 17,000, so it's a small arena.
Absolutely. And last but certainly not least, I can't mess this one up. Cool Gamer comments. Hey, how are
Hey.
you doing, Cool Gamer?
Yeah,
Good to
Cool
see
Gamer
you.
is a man with many words.
He's the
I like
man.
him.
Good to have you as usual. But let's get right into it. Let's talk about Roman Reigns and LA Knight and the contract signing that's happening tonight. And I got one question for basically everyone. How do they make it feel like LA Knight has a chance? Because that's all we need here in this contract signing. And where do we start? What's your prediction for how the contract signing goes? And how do we give LA Knight a shot, Chaos?
Oh, me. All right, cool. I was thinking about this during the day, and I was trying to wrap my brain on how they can make it possible for us to really believe. And in all honesty, I think it's too little, too late. I think with this type of situation, they should have had more weeks in the oven building up to the potential that what if maybe it could. I mean, similar to how when it was Sami Zayn, with all that build up, and obviously the match was going to happen in his hometown, all that stuff, everyone was thinking, what if, could he possibly be the one? He was probably the one of the best suited person to dethrone Roman Reigns at the time. Same thing with Cody Rhodes. Obviously, he won the Rumble, and he had the story about his dad, and finishing the story. He was also someone that people thought he could definitely be the perfect person to dethrone Roman Reigns. LA Knight could easily have been that person if there was more story to this. Obviously, the most that we've had regarding LA Knight is obviously, he had the interaction with Paul Heyman introducing himself, and then obviously he had the tag match with Cena against Solo and Jimmy. But yeah, that's still not convincing. And most of the time, Roman Reigns wasn't even there for the whole thing. So yeah, it's as much as I would like to fool myself to think maybe LA Knight has a chance, considering the momentum that he has, and he's one of the top baby faces, if not the top baby face in the company right now. I think it's. I'm really. I said it before on the daily that I'm really annoyed that they announced this at Crown Jewel of all pay-per-views. This could have easily have headlined Royal Rumble or something if they put more time to it. The fact that it's thrown on a, on a
Promotional show.
pay-per-view. Yeah, it's we all know about Crown Jewel. It just kind of deflates me already, and I'm just worried. I know the outcome. I'm just worried about how is it going to affect his momentum, and is it going to be a clean finish? Is it going to be a dusty finish? How is this going to affect LA Knight? Will he still be as over as he was prior to this? So to be honest, I don't know how they're going to make it, how they're going to make us believe that Knight has a chance, even if this contract signing makes him look strong. I think it's a bit too late. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
I'm 100% with you, and I'm really glad you brought up Sami Zayn, because I think it's really interesting. If you think back on this entire reign, Sami Zayn actually felt, in my eyes, outside of Cody Rhodes at Mania, like the biggest threat. Somehow he captured the magic, and we felt like it was possible. Even then, like it didn't happen, but the possibility remained. It could. And I think that's key to note. LA Knight, like you said, being booked so early in this type of a feud, as hot as he is, we just know what Roman Reigns is. That's the problem, is if you watch week in and week out, we know what Roman Reigns represents and what he is and what he's accomplished here. And you take this steamrolling train. I wonder if you put LA Knight on the other side on Raw, and it's him and Seth Rollins, and maybe we turn Seth heel, if that wasn't the better option for LA Knight's sake, right? But for Roman Reigns, right now, to your point, he's pretty much going to eat everyone alive.
Yeah, until Mania. Yeah,
until Mania, and that's what it feels like. I'm going to toss it to you next, Carter. Where do you think they go tonight with the contract signing? And do you think there's any way that they can make us feel like LA Knight has a chance?
So Clark, you just sent it straight to the craziest person in the room. I do think chaos is generally right. I think this is going to be very, very predictable. But one thing you learned with me, Clark, and one thing I think the commenters have found is I'm a bit of a crazy booker. I think the WWE should take the title off of Roman and give it to LA Knight. I think they should. I think it would be. We're not expecting it. It makes no sense. It would cause a ton of chaos in these like kind of perfect storylines. I hate to go here. Tony Khan would do it. But no, I mean, but no, I mean, it's going to be predictable. You have like kind of your ultimate face versus not your ultimate heel, but everyone's going to be behind LA Knight. It's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of. One thing I can guarantee is there's going to be a lot of yes thrown. You're gonna hear yeah over and over again. LA Knight, yeah. So that's going to happen. It'll be exciting. It'll be fun. My brain says that, yeah, this is going to be predictable. That does make sense, though, to send LA Knight over to Raw and maybe have him contend with Rollins and those guys. I just think, yeah, with the bloodline, there's too much this is attached to for it to do it. But Vince or whoever's running things, Triple H, listen to me. Paul. It's indie-rific. It's a horrible idea. I think you should do it.
I love it. It's fun. Let's change it up. Why not? I love just hearing something different there. And I will say my only fear with that theory is if you have LA Knight go over, likely Roman has to be cheated by the rest of the bloodline. And you're now turning the whole story on its head. That would be cool. But at the same time, it devalues the win for LA Knight. And you have your hottest babyface, as Chaos had mentioned previously, right? In LA Knight, you have Roman Reigns with all he's carried. And I don't know which of the two it helps in any scenario. That's where I feel like we're stuck. Shad, can you get us unstuck on this one? Is there a way that we get out of this where we feel like LA Knight has a chance? He takes a loss and he comes out looking decent.
Yeah, I mean, never say never, right? There's always an opportunity with professional wrestling. There's something that can be so out of the ordinary, extraordinary that just hits your TV screen and you are completely stuck in awe and amazed to it. For instance, LA Knight, last year, far from this position. This guy was feuding with Hit Row and breaking out of the male models, and he was running the male models. And look where he is now. Anything is possible. The one outlier that I think you could potentially bring life and bring the fear and make LA Knight seem like a viable competitor to get that title off of Roman next week in Saudi is Paul Heyman. I think the argument and the feud with everything that we've seen is between him and Paul. And there has to be an exchange where LA Knight cuts some sort of promo, does something amazing tonight that puts a lot of fear into Paul Heyman's face. You get the facial expressions of Paul just looking really distraught, worried, and he feels worried for Roman. I feel that would be the way to kind of make us feel like, oh, this might be an opportunity for a title change. Do I think that's going to happen? I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Probably not. LA Knight he's the trendy new TikTok dance at this moment, right? He's the fun thing that everybody loves. He's the viral sensation with the catchphrase and all of that. But we've seen it happen with a lot of people, and I don't think WWE's had a good history as of late these last few years being able to capture that. Because I would have, like y'all said, I would have not done it so quickly. I would have had a build to it and put it in a marquee pay-per-view like Royal Rumble. Once he loses next week, he moves down the pecking, like he goes down like on the board, right? Like where I don't know what he goes next. He's not going to get the opportunity for that title, mid-card title possibly, Seth's title maybe, but I feel that's what's gonna. I got an uneasy feeling that it's not gonna hurt him because you're in a program and Roman not only benefits you, but like we're not gonna get that main stage universal championship opportunity for him for a while, if not ever again.
I agree with you there 100%.
The only thing that I could probably save him before, and then after this we can wrap go into the next section.
You're fine.
The only thing they could do is that maybe he could be probably the closest one out of everyone that's tried to go for a title, but it's gonna be a non-finish. It might be an interference, and that will protect Roman obviously as a heel, and it might protect Knight instead of being pinned. That's the only way he could go around it. He could be the closest one. He's about to win it, but the Usos come out.
That chaos is really well thought out. I
want Roman to beat him clear.
Clean?
Yeah, I want him to win clean. I'm tired of the same finishes all the time with him cheating and stuff. I need Roman's a dominant champion. I have more.
When's the last time it's been an interference and the match has ended in a no contest?
Okay, only because this is really enjoyable too. I got another idea. Speaking of no contest chaos, how about this one? How about he gets him in the guillotine, which is my favorite one that Roman added to his repertoire. He gets him in the guillotine. You get a bridge from LA Knight, and he taps at the same time the 3 count hits.
Oh, a double. Okay.
That would be fascinating. That'd be really interesting. His shoulders go to the mat, right? He rolls them up and bridges. I mean, that's really creative. I'm really digging into the toolbox there on booking that one. But that might be the way that you go, okay, maybe, and both come out looking strong as could be.
Maybe. I mean, obviously, because right now, obviously, Roman has been pinned in a tag team match, but would they really waste him getting pinned that kind of way? I don't know.
I think the only way you could get around that is because it's kind of like the equivalent of a roll-up, or it's like a submission reversal, right? You know what I mean? It's a little bit like Brett pinning Austin at Survivor Series in the Cobra Clutch. I'm not Cobra, $1 Million Dream. But like, it's just hard to book in my eyes because I'm so excited about LA Knight personally. I think he's done amazing work, and Roman's story needs to be finished too. And the collision, I think, is what bothers me on that one. We've got a couple comments here about it. Bobby Petito agrees exactly with you, Chaos. To me, they should have done Roman Reigns versus LA Knight at Survivor Series Royal Rumble. Bobby also suggested maybe a DQ.
Yeah, DQ.
I don't mind that at all. We got another comment here from Mart76. How's it going, Martin? Probably will be interference. All his matches have like multiple run-ins. That is actually a really good point too. There's a lot of bloodline matches with run-ins,
but there's always a finish. This will be the first one in a while. There's a non-finish. There'll be a difference. It'll be fresh. In a weird way, it'll be refreshing in this match.
That's true. The non-finish aspect, I do think, changes things. Chaos. That's a great point. And then Zachary Ray with, I believe it is possible for LA Knight to be a main event star, but if they want to protect him, have Knight losing a no DQ, no pinfall, and possibly, in a DQ, no pinfall, and possibly win the Royal Rumble and main event with Cody in triple threat. That is a lot of, we booked that out to Mania. I like the comment for sure. I don't mind it. Triple threats at Mania historically have been exciting. I've always felt. I do kind of love the two guys.
What was the last one? Was it Triple H, Michael Benoit?
Edge. There's been a few. Isn't it Edge, Roman, Daniel Bryan?
Yeah, you're right.
Edge, Roman, Daniel Bryan, and then I was going to say, and then before that, if you include Seth joining the main event to make it a
technically, you're right. Yeah,
technically, right on a technicality there. But with that, let's talk about the Street Profits. Let's talk about the Street Profits. I love the Street Profits. Chaos, I love the Street Profits. We were jamming out on that entrance. I'm a diehard Street Profits guy. Against the LWO, Rey Mysterio, and Santos. Not exactly sure what I think about this one because I'm not exactly sure what we're doing with the Street Profits. But I do love the pairing with Bobby Lashley. Chaos, where do you think they're going with this, and who do you think goes over tonight?
You're right. I'm not sure where, because it's kind of been up and down regarding Street Profits. It's like they're not sure what. I don't think even they know what to do with them, because it doesn't feel like they're top tag team title contenders. But I'll give them still a bit of room as long as they get some W's under their belt, some convincing W's. I'm enjoying the heel run. It's a nice little It's a refreshing take on the Street Profits as well as Bobby Lashley, you know, and I'm glad they're not calling it Hurt Business 2.0 or, you know, the Street Business. I don't know what they're calling it, but yeah, it's I'm still intrigued. I do feel like the Street Profits is going to go over solely because Logan Paul is probably going to interfere with this because Mysterio's in this. And then obviously that's another loss. Escobar is probably is getting more frustrated with Mysterio. And you know, I think it's slowly also building up to Mysterio getting kicked out of the LWR. I still feel like going to be Santos Escobar is going to take over this team and then boot Mysterio out. But yeah, I think the main focus is definitely with Mysterio and, you know, his match with Logan Paul confirmed for Crown Jewel, I believe. I think it's Crown Jewel, isn't it? So yeah, I'm fine with that. Whatever it is, what it is. Typical shenanigans. Probably Logan Paul hits him with the one lucky shot, and then yeah, Street Profits go in and take the Dusty finish because the heels they have to. So yeah, I'll give more breathing room to the Street Profits because they're doing so well as a heel. I'm enjoying both of them right now, and yeah, just something needs to give. Definitely become more convincing tag team title contenders down the line, and then build it from there.
I dig it. I'm totally with you, and the Dusty finish call is outstanding. Like, I think that's spot on. I really honestly see it genuinely the exact same way. That's the way you broke it down. I was like, that's exactly how it should go. Let's actually move on, though. That way we have time to talk about some later topics, but let's talk about, and let's switch gears for a second. We're going to talk AEW instead of WWE.
TK
for just a minute here. Shout out TK. One of my favorites in all of wrestling, Santana. Not that I'm not an Ortiz fan, but Santana did dial me in on a cameo in 2021 for my buddy that watched my dogs, Roman, when I was at the show. It was awesome. He filmed it in the arena at All Out. It was great. Couldn't have been a better guy about it. Huge Santana fan. Santana and Ortiz, I think, should be the best tag team in the world, but instead, we're getting them one-on-one tonight on Rampage. I told Ben last night, hey, looks like I'm watching Rampage because I'm a fan of these two, and I'm a fan of this storyline. Say what you will about the show Rampage. I'm not missing this match. Shad, how do you feel like it goes, and who do you think goes over?
I mean, I'm very excited for this match. Proud and Powerful, like they're one of my favorite tag teams from the start of, obviously prior to AEW, but going into AEW, and I feel like they never got an opportunity to take control as being a great tag team with being a part of whatever faction name it was with Jericho, the Inner Circle. I don't think they're part of Jericho Association, but for all of that, and then obviously them having a feud rumor between each other, but now we're seeing it happen upon results of these last few months, and of course with injury happening. I think this is going to be a very like emotional, great match that you're going to see a lot of in-ring storytelling, a lot of two brothers who have been beefing for a while, taking it, you know, putting the gloves on in theory of how you handle stuff and whatnot in the real world, but like, you know, like taking the gloves off and just fighting it out and having a good emotional wrestling match. Who wins? I don't know, to be honest with you. I really don't know. It could go either way, but I don't really care about who wins. I think the end result is they're going to fight it out. And I think we're going to get them to finally embrace each other and squash whatever beef they may have had in real life or within kayfabe. And I think we're going to get the tag team of Proud and Powerful back again. The tag team division is got a new look to it. We got new tag team champs. Why not get Proud and Powerful back in this division and feud with Ricky Starks and Big Bill, right? Like have them back as baby faces and feud with the heel tag team of Ricky Starks and Big Bill. Build that feud up. And I think these two deserve the tag team title finally. They've never had the opportunity to hold that, you know, gold. I feel like this will be the first step to get them back together. And I think we're going to eventually see them within one of these pay-per-views was them as the tag team champs. And I'm definitely, like you said, I'm definitely excited for this match too. I'm mad that it's on Rampage because I don't really watch Rampage that much, and I wish this was a match that was built up a little bit more on Dynamite or something that could have been a pay-per-view match, just because there's so much storytelling within real life and whatnot. I feel like you could have had a lot more importance to it, but it is what it is. They got to stack shows up to get viewers to watch. So this is gonna make people want to watch it.
I'm excited to see it myself for sure. I think the build was excellent. The building to a Rampage match is the issue, I would say, Shad, right? It's not necessarily that.
It's not the build to it. The build to it has been amazing. It's one of the better builds that they've had. But it's where it's happening.
It's off the charts, but yeah, it's the venue.
Where it's happening. Yeah.
It's the venue, 100%. I'm with you there. Could not agree more. And that's no knock on.
And the time slot too. Y'all have gone to Dynamite shows. You know, a lot of people out the building by the time they air Rampage. It's Wednesday night. People got work the next day.
LA is one of the craziest ones I've ever seen, though, because Carter, you were at that show with me.
Oh yeah.
That building was filled for Rampage. I don't know that. And that's January. Don't get me wrong. That's January. We're talking about in LA at the Forum, but like the way that live show was navigated, the Forum was as full for Rampage as it was for Dynamite being in the building, which was impressive. But I will say, week in and week out, that's hard to sustain.
Yeah,
that type of a thing. I mean, this is one that I would absolutely stay for. And also, by the way, Bobby Batito agrees with us here. He's interested in Santana versus Ortiz. And they could have done this match on Collision. I could not agree more, Bobby Batito.
Yeah, that's true too.
100%. Now let's talk about another one. We've got a women's, an absolute electric lineup, interesting lineup for a shot at Hikaru Shida's championship on Collision tonight on Rampage. We got Abaddon versus Sky Blue versus Willow Nightingale versus Anna Jay. Anna Jay, I've always believed, is awesome. We don't see her on TV week in and week out like we did in previous years. Excited to see her back. Sky Blue is on the run of her career. Willow Nightingale, I believe, is the most underrated women's wrestler in the AEW women's division by far. Abaddon, we haven't seen in a century, and she's fascinating. Abaddon is a fascinating character. I don't necessarily know who goes over in this one, but if I had to pick, I do believe it's the Chicago girl herself, Sky Blue. Carter, let me hear your thoughts on this one.
Oh yeah, so I got some fun facts to back you up, Clark, courtesy of our good friend Mr. Tony Khan. So against Hikaru Shida, Sky Blue has a clean record. Willow has one loss in a non-title fights, and both Abaddon and Anna Jay have multiple losses to Hikaru Shida. So I do think you are right that Sky Blue is going to go over this one. She's on a run. She's hot. Everything but no, this is going to be an absolute again, I think Tony Khan's starting to get it with the women's division. This is going to be a really fun match. I do eventually want to see Willow Nightingale as the champion. I think she's fantastic. I love watching her. The style matchup here is going to be great. You have kind of two traditional wrestlers and two kind of power female wrestlers with Abaddon and Willow, and I mean, Abaddon's great too. She's a really interesting character. She's kind of doing the old school luchador thing where none of us have ever seen her face, which is really cool too. So I think this is just our boy Tony Khan is starting to get it with the women's division. I think he's getting better and better at booking it. And we were talking about this on the pre-show. I think this is going to be a great match. And, for having 3 shows a week in wrestling, I think AEW is doing a pretty good job of filling it up.
I totally agree. I will say it's interesting that both these matches are on Rampage, and we haven't even talked about Collision yet, which we're going to get into next. And I'm stoked about, because this is a wild matchup for just a Collision main event. But we've talked about ratings. We've talked about momentum. We've talked about what do they do to change things up. How about you take the billboard, the marquee, and you put Maxwell Jacob Friedman and Kenny Omega on it? Because it doesn't get a heck of a lot better than that outside of the WWE or anywhere else in wrestling. This is Max at the peak of being the title holder, at the peak of his young career, at his finest against Kenny Omega, who we haven't seen in a singles match for a title in a long time. But we know he nearly always delivers. I think personally, Maxwell Jacob Friedman retains. And I also am predicting shenanigans. But outside of that, I want to toss this to Chaos first. Chaos, who do you got?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same to say that he's definitely gonna retain. My only annoyance about this thing is that this is again this is similar to with Roman Reigns against LA Knight. I just wish this had a bit more build. It really feels like someone last week just went into TK's office and then just they were just talking generally, and then they probably just went on Wikipedia or a wrestling version of Wikipedia and just like, huh, MJF is not so far off from overtaking Kenny Omega's record. And then TK was like, no ish. Let's just, let's run this through. And then then all of a sudden you have that promo that MJF is saying 13 days BITCH is or whatever it was last week. So yeah, I just wish that they actually kept more on tabs with this and then kind of build something, because Kenny Omega's record is nothing to what's that saying? Is nothing to overlook at. He's the longest reigning AEW World Heavyweight Champion. This is when he was the belt collector. So it's I feel like I think he should have a bit more respect than regarding this, and try and make MJF actually make it a target of his to overtake the record that Kenny Omega holds. I'm just ashamed that they didn't really run this through. It should have done maybe across the month instead of just a 2-week build. I'm happy that it's the main event of Collision. I think it will definitely, but then you got this weird thing that he doesn't even have his title to even represent himself. So it's all kind of weird. It's like they just shoehorned it because TK just realized one day that it's very close to breaking the record. So but yeah, I feel like he's definitely going to retain. And another thing I want to talk about is obviously the pay-per-view that they announced, the World's End pay-per-view. I think that's something to interfere with or including regarding his reign. But yeah, at the end of the day, MJF to retain should be a fun match. Looking forward to it.
I'm with you on that, and especially on MJF retaining. It's funny though. I love how you said that they shoehorn this. That it's spot on, but it's funny in a weird way because it's Omega. I'm like still excited.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You're like, it's great. Now, another thing that's interesting to me is you look at Kenny Omega's current run since the belt collector gimmick, basically, right? Like his most recent stuff. This is the perfect scenario for him to show just how good he is. As much as like people like to knock him and whatnot, this is another one though. Jay White still has the belt, right? Yeah. What if Kenny Omega wins the title and there's no title? That would be fascinating. I don't think that's happening, but I mean, come on. Like, it's kind of possible.
Just go to the merch stand, get a replica, and then bring it in.
That's what I'm curious about. Is MJF going to walk out for his entrance without a title? Is Jay White going to be at commentary holding the belt? Like, what is going on with that? So weird. Too, I'm confused. Shad, who do you have in this match? Do you have MJF retaining, or do you have Kenny going over? And what do you think is going to happen?
I think MJF is going to walk out the match still in title-wise AEW champ. I don't know if he'll get his belt back tomorrow or whatnot. Here's the thing. I feel like it should be it's on paper, it's an incredible match. I mean, this is a main event upon main events. You got two of the best, if not the two best notable people in AEW history going against each other. The first most renowned champ versus the new renowned champ. I personally like just the play off of, I'm not going to let you get my record. And I do agree with Chaos to a sense. I feel like you could have alluded to it a little earlier rather than last week, where it's so quick and you're chasing 13 days and trying to line up a day to have this match before we cross the 13 days. But it is what it is. We're having it. And it's important for Collision to have these type of matches because they need to, get people more inclined to want to watch the programming and whatnot. So there isn't a better match to have the fans want to view it than that. But I feel like there's gonna be like a screwy finish, to be real with you. I mean, there's a lot of feuds between both of these guys with a lot of heel factions and whatnot. And I feel like there's gonna be something that's gonna really, really just have them not have a clean finish. It may deal with the Bullet Club Gold, the Bang Bang Gang, and maybe Jay White probably just ends it as a whole where he doesn't want the match to happen because he's the real champ and he doesn't want anybody pinning Max except for him. So, and maybe that leads to something with this whole, gang warfares. And I don't know what kind of, it's a way to see. But I do think MJF is going to retain and still be champion tonight. And hey, I'm excited for it.
100%. And yeah, I think we're all in kind of agreement that MJF should retain his title here. As great as Kenny Omega is, this has been, like Chaos said, shoehorned, right? It's out of left field and 100%. Carter, I'm going to toss it to you. Do you see a scenario where Kenny steals one? Or are you in agreement with everybody else here?
I would love to say something crazy, but ultimately, I think Jay White and the Bang Bang Gang are going to be the guys to take the belt for real from MJF. So no, I have written down a term that my good brother Cardi Cornett would say: indie-rific speed booking. It would be like a way some people might criticize Tony Khan, but honestly, I'll use this to compliment him. I mean, we just saw Okada on Wednesday. Now we're getting Kenny Omega in a headliner. One of like the key things that makes AEW so great is its partnerships with New Japan, AAA, CMLL, all these. We're seeing some amazing wrestlers who had really good runs in New Japan on American television. So regardless of the outcome, this is going to be a real treat. This is going to be an example for MJF to get a little more technical. I know some detractors might say he's not technical enough of a wrestler. So this is just going to be a great wrestling match on a Saturday night. We got some boxing in the morning, and we'll watch this at night. And this is just a treat, courtesy of Mr. Tony Khan. So thank you, Tony. I appreciate you hooking us up like this.
I couldn't agree more, actually, on that. I think that's a great take too. And if you really think about it, like you said, I mentioned earlier in the show, we have Fury versus Ngannou tomorrow afternoon. And it's Saturday, and if you're staying home watching college football, watching sports, watching combat sports, you've got that on top of Collision. You've got SmackDown and Rampage tonight. There's more than enough programming to go around, and I could not agree more. But let's talk about a pay-per-view that was just announced that Chaos actually brought up earlier. Let's talk about World's End. Interestingly enough, this one's in the Nassau Coliseum, which is where the New York Islanders played formerly. The former building of the New York Islanders, right on that little island that MJF can't stop talking about. It's his favorite island, Long Island, New York. And I respect it. He's a Long Islander. In the Nassau Coliseum, I can't imagine there's anyone other than Maxwell Jacob Friedman on the marquee against whoever it is. Do you have any predictions for that, Chaos, or any idea what it's going to be? But this has got to be a Max-centric show.
Yeah. So I was well, I was gonna actually delve into this a bit more. The next episode of Take It to the Table, be sure to check it out. With no cheap plug,
Yes.
But yeah, I just feel definitely it's gonna be an MJF centric show. I mean, they've chosen that location for a reason, and that is simply for it to be around MJF because obviously after then that's when it's the bidding war of 2024, and it wouldn't surprise me because right now, if in the back burner, they are stacking potential contenders to take the title away from MJF before then. So obviously, you got Wardlow waiting for MJF. Now you got Kenny Omega, Jay White, um, maybe Adam Cole eventually when he comes back, hopefully soon, whenever that may be. But yeah, they are stacking up very formidable opponents for MJF, and you know, he could easily. I would love it if they actually teased something that, unfortunately, I'm to bring up the guy again. CM Punk did in WWE when you know he said about his contract was up and he ran away with the WWE title. Even though he came back a couple weeks later, but that's another thing. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if you know Tony Khan, you know, he's trying to get the title of MJF. He's beating all these people, and then when it comes to obviously Strike Midnight, January 1st, 2024, is effectively a free agent when and then obviously that's when the bidding war stuff. And but the thing is, he still has the AEW World Championship. He could easily, you know, obviously renew or go to another promotion with the title. Like do exactly what they should have done with the CM Punk thing. Go full out. MJF is more than capable of doing that. And then just if eventually he comes back and then we'll take it from there. But yeah, I feel like this is definitely going to be revolving around MJF's contract status, and then see where we go from regarding the bidding war of 2024. That's my prediction of what they're going to do.
I could not agree more, and I'm so glad he broke it down that way too. Like that is exactly what I'm picturing. I mean, we're looking at December, close to that date, like you said, January 1st, 2024, the bidding war of 2024. We've built it all this time. If he goes over and keeps that title, oh, and it's whoever is on the other side, I personally feel like has to be in a position where they look like they are going to win multiple times, and Max keeps it, because not only will it rock the Nassau Coliseum, I know how loud that building is from Islanders hockey. It's as loud as could be, and the fact that it's still up and not been knocked down yet since they moved to a different arena is awesome, right? It's a historic venue. It's all time. It's a classic. It's probably Max's childhood dream to headline that venue over the Garden as a New Yorker, given that he's a Long Islander, right? The Rangers play in MSG, the Islanders play at the Nassau Coliseum. Played. Either way, you guys think there's anyone besides, and this is an interesting suggestion here from our friend Bobby Petito in the comments. He suggested MJF and Swerve.
Mm-hmm. That's who needs to get the title next.
I agree.
Without a doubt. Nobody else deserves the title more than Swerve next. You and me talked about it yesterday. I don't think there is a wrestler currently on AEW that has and will have more value than Swerve for the next 5+ years. Like, that dude is literally a genius. He's the best heel in AEW right now. He makes things very cinematic. He makes storylines feel very important. He has a star presence. He's got an incredible in-ring wrestler, like total package, man. You take that to the house. That's like a new element of a heel champion, and he could feud with anybody, just like how MJF can. That's the beauty of it. He can feud with so many different people. That's who's got to get the title next.
You know, it's so funny too that you mentioned that, and we talk about the pillars in AEW a lot, right? Everyone does. It feels a little bit like Swerve when he signed with AEW was like, oh, watch me build a new pillar. Like, I mean, honestly, like his run has been, I think, the cleanest of anyone that's like crossed over with youth, right? We've seen a lot of legends or older stars cross over either direction, right? But somebody that young with that bright of a future ahead of them to cross over, his run from start till now it's only built the entire way, and that's something that's really, really blown me away about Swerve Strickland. I would not mind in the least if not only is he the challenger against Max at the Nassau Coliseum in December, but if he's the next AEW World Champion, that would not bother me, not one bit. I would argue that he deserves it 100%. Now, with that brings us to the end of the show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. At Wrestling Republic on Instagram. Tune in, take it to the table with Chaos every single time because it's always great. Check out Off the Air with me and Shad, and hang out with me and Carter whenever he's a co-host on the show with us, right? Let's have some fun, and everyone have a great Friday night and enjoy your Halloween weekend. I know it's not actually Halloween, but if you're going to a costume party, have fun and drive safe. Have a good one. We'll talk to you tomorrow, same time, same place, noon Pacific, 8 over in the UK. That's 3 Eastern, 2 Central, 1 Mountain, and of course, 9 a.m. in Hawaii.
Peace.